October 16th, 2011. Why I said that date because it's an important day in my life. That's the day I realized that life is very short. That's the day I realized that we are not promised tomorrow. Today marks a year anniversary of my grandmother's passing, and let me tell you my version of it on that particular day. It was the day after my homecoming dance. It was my senior homecoming dance, I should say, and I seen my grandmother earlier in that week. It was me, my dad, and my sister. I forget which hospital she was at. I think it was SLU, or I think it was Barnes. I'm not really sure, but we got there. I forget what floor she was on. I think she was on the 5th or 6th floor, and she was not herself. She had tubes in and out of her. She was teary-eyed, and it was pretty much one of the most scariest things I have ever saw. Like, my sister, she just straight crying. Me, I didn't cry. I don't recall Dad was crying, but I didn't quite fully get the situation because I asked my father, Dad, why they have so many tubes in her? And he was like, well, son, this is what they called, I can't recall what he said, but I think it was, she was in her final stages of her life. And we all talked to her at the same time and individually. I told Granny my homecoming dance is this weekend, and I'm just a little nervous because it's homecoming. She reached out, and I reached out to her, and I could have sworn she told me to have fun. And I was like, I will. And she nodded with tears coming down her eyes. And I promised her that I was going to see her later on that week. So homecoming was great. I enjoyed everything. I danced with 4 beautiful women. I had a great time. I had a blast. The following day, October 16th, is when Ruben invited everybody over to his house. And this around time he was staying, like, I think around the corner from A-Roof. And Yumbo was with me. And this is way before I started learning how to drive. I didn't learn how to drive till 2014. But yeah, like I said, Yumbo was with me, and on that particular day, we just enjoyed ourselves, you know, barbecuing and just enjoying around being family. And me and Yumbo rode with A-Roof back to her house, and we was chilling with my other cousins, and Shanika called, and she was like, man, where you at? And I told her we at A-Roof house, and she was like, Mom and Dad say, start making your way back over here. And I'm like, cool. So I told Young, yo, man, we gotta go. He like, all right. So we walked on our way there, and Shanika kept calling. I mean, she kept calling. I don't know how many times she called. She even sent me a text like, why you not answering your phone? Answer your damn phone. So I'm like, why the hell Shanika's calling me nonstop? So I called her back since I missed a few of her calls, and I was like, yo, what's up? What's with the hostility of calling? She was just crying, And I'm like, blood, what's wrong? And she told me that, she said, man. And I'm like, what? Granny is gone. Gone where? She was like, she's gone. Like gone out of this earth? Like, no longer exists, gone? Like, she deceased? And she was like, yeah. I dropped to my knees. And I cried. And I screamed. It was so many cars driving past us. Some of them stopped, pulled over, asking me if I was alright. Even Yum asked me, Mo, what's wrong? And I told him, and he started crying, threw a tantrum, just leave me here. I was like, nah, man, we had to go. We have to. So I carried him along the way back to Ruben House. And the first person I saw was my mother. And I asked Mom, I was like, Mom, is this true? Which nigga just told me? And she was like, yeah, baby, it's true. Your granny's gone. We always in the house just crying. My grandmother played a huge part in my life. And the reason why I said it because I recall a point when I was in high school, when I was a freshman, I was thinking about committing suicide, and I didn't have the courage to tell my parents. It brought tears to their eyes, and I told my grandmother, and my grandmother, she was the opposite of that. She was like, oh, no, the hell you not. My grandson ain't no punk ass. I was like, Granny, what do you mean? She was like, anybody who commits suicide is a punk ass. Those were her words. And I'm like, what should I do? She's like, baby, you was getting older. You need to stand up for yourself. And when she said that, a light bulb came off in my head, and I was like, you know what, she's right. It's time to stand up for myself. And that's what I did. So that explains why I am who I am today, because of my grandmother. You know, like I said, it's been 8 years since her passing, and it still feels surreal. Like, they made a DVD video of her appreciation day. She had appreciation day at Roof House. This was August 16th, 2011. And yeah, I remember the date. And all of us just had a good time. And, you know, I realized my sister was in all those pictures. And I was like, damn, at the time, why Shanika was in all those pictures? Maybe it was a sign. And that was 2 months ago, before her passing. And I didn't know at that time, but now I know why. So, a lot has changed since then. You know, losing somebody like that, especially your grandmother, you expect your grandmother to be around forever. But I knew from that very moment that life is very short. So, there you have it. Thank you. Subscribe to my channel. Go on Spotify under the name Mo You Did It Again and get all of my new projects.